With that, we'll bring in Emily Sturge, a campus reform reporter, and Ben Weingarten is here, senior contributor at The Federalist and editor-at-large for Real Clear Investigations. Great to see both of you here. Thanks for coming on. Emily, if I could start with you on this. I mean, obviously, this has caught the attention of the nation. This woman set on fire, and this learning more about the suspect with dozens and dozens of prior arrests still being allowed to be out, and there's still pushback with the state, with the mayor. Why is that?
Well, good morning, Sean. It's so great to be with you, and I'm so glad to see the president taking initiative on this, because so many of these attacks, whether it's career criminals or illegal aliens, so many of these attacks are on young women. And for so long, the media painted President Trump as this ultimate misogynist, as this anti-woman candidate. But really, I would say that this president has done so much for young women, whether it's our safety, our locker rooms, our sports teams, our bathrooms. This president is really winning on this issue, I think.
Yeah, that's a great.
That it's progressive policing policies that are the bottom line issue here, and it's those progressive policing policies that put the career criminal, back out on the streets in New York City, who just assaulted 20-year-old Amelia Lewis, an NYU student who was walking to class at 9:30 a.m. and was assaulted by a homeless man. He had been put back out on the streets over a dozen times. I think back to the story of Laken Riley, raped and murdered by an illegal alien. And as I'm thinking of these young women, I read this headline, and it just blows me away that this country's gotten to this.
Emily, I mean, this is some scary stuff.
It's definitely scary. And Ben, I'll tell you exactly where that culture comes from. It comes from our education system. This anti-Americanism, that ideology is so, it's alive within our education system, specifically our college campuses. I pointed out some of these tools helping criminals dox ICE agents. The University of Chicago student newspaper is running one of those tools. We also saw more and more young people okay with political violence, especially around the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Yeah. We've got to reform our education system and fix this culture.
Emily, what do you think about this? I mean, this is a first in the world social media ban in a big way. We're not talking about just one social media platform. We're talking about almost a dozen: Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, you name it. If you're under the age of 16, many finding their accounts have been deactivated or suspended even. Is this a good move by this government? Because we know a lot of others, including here in the United States, they're watching this one.
Well, here in the United States, I do think that this should be more of a parent's decision than the government's decision. But the bottom line is we can't overlook the mental health effects of social media. Generation Z was pretty much the first generation to have phones in our hands. I remember being in elementary school, and my peers and I, we all had social media at that age. Wow. And now we have a generation that's facing a mental health epidemic. So restrictions might help lower some of those suicide rates, depression rates, anxiety rates. It could be a good thing, but I think it should come from the parents.
You had a cell phone in elementary school?
I did.
That's big.
I did. And you know what? I'm not exactly saying to ban all cell phones from young people. Cell phones a lot of the time is for safety reasons at that age, but social media is where the problem.
Well,
Sean, we all know these scams all too well. The minutes before I came and sat back down in the seat, I just got 2 scam calls during the commercial break, so that should tell you all you need to know. And as we head into the holiday season, specifically the ones that I am watching out for is sometimes you'll get a text that's a link to track your package at USPS or UPS. A lot of the times there's scams. And this latest move from the FBI issuing this warning really underscores 2 major themes of this administration. That's protecting Americans from criminals, and that's saving money for Americans.
You think the president can reach a younger audience, and is affordability one of those key issues?
Absolutely, and that's why I want to see college campuses on this affordability tour. I'll have to start off by saying last night's speech was a home run. The president hit all the bases: the economy, immigration. He brought out real Americans to tell real stories. What he didn't do, he didn't lecture. It wasn't a teleprompter speech with all these statistics that went over most people's heads. No, he looked directly at the American people and said, your turkey was 33% cheaper this year. Your Thanksgiving dinner was 25% cheaper under President Trump in comparison to President Biden. As much as I love to see this president out speaking to the American people, I love to see this president in Washington. I love to see him getting work done. So the message here to Republicans is Republicans, if they want to win, they need to learn to stand on their own 2 feet. The president, your dad can't always do your